Are you lost, confused, wondering why you spawned in with a hammer instead of a gun? Don't worry, Private, you're not alone. World chat's already full of your friends asking, how do I shoot, and what is a logistic? In the game of Foxhole, the most deadly weapon outside of world chat happens to be incompetence. In the video today, we're going to break it all down: how to stop being a liability, how to actually help your team, and most importantly, how to survive more than 5 minutes. I'm going to show you how to fight on the front line and be effective, and also how to do backline logistics so you can support your war effort. So first of all, this is your home region. As soon as you get into the game, you're going to spawn into an area like this, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get onto the front. So this is the current map, and I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of how to look at this. Each of these individual little things here is a hexagon. Every hexagon has sectors within it, and most of those have a couple important towns, usually 2 to 3 per hex. These big ones like Hermit's Rest, Thunderfoot, and the Foundry would be the big towns for this hex. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you why. This is a refinery. This is huge for a hex. This is huge for any war front. This is where you take raw resources and you turn them into usable items, which get thrown into a factory, which is right here, this little icon, and then those crates of materials get put into a storage depot or a seaport, and from there they're shipped off to the front, which would be just up here. You got to remember that in this game, every single item you touch other than what you spawn with right here is made by a player. Every truck you will get into, every bullet you shoot, every grenade you throw, every round of artillery or mortar shells that you will take while you are on the front was made by a player. Now this is one of my favorite things about Foxhole altogether. I love the war industry simulation here. And just remember, it's not the infantry that wins the battles, it is the logistics. So if we look at our map here, this is the home region. I was just at the state of the war, this little world icon. If you go over to one of these sides with the little swords, you will find a deployment map. Press E to open that up. Immediately, these red dots, reinforcements required. That means that your team is heavily outmatched in this area and they need infantry. So you could spawn there if you want to go to the front, or you can go to any of these larger squares. That means that there's more people there spawning. So we are going to go ahead and pick a front. I'm going to go down here to Rancher's Fast. I've been fighting on this front for the last couple days. I really enjoy it here. We're going to go show you guys some stuff. So next step is going to be accessing the relic bases, town bases, bunker bases, so on. If you press E, you're going to hit this. This is very scary for a new player. I completely understand that. This picture, this is a lot of stuff to take in, right? Grab a rifle. The low caster for me as a warden is kind of like our go-to rifle. I prefer the Blake Road just because I played a whole bunch. I'm going to grab one of these. Now, we're going to go ahead and grab only 2 clips of 7.62 ammo. If you're wondering how to find out what gun shoots what caliber, just hover over it and you will see it right there that mine says 7.62 millimeter. So we grab 7.62. And honestly, if you wanted to in this, there are these little tabs up here that kind of, you don't have to look at as much stuff. It's kind of less scary to look at this, right? So right here is just your regular guns and munitions and grenades. So if we now press tab, we open up our personal inventory. As you can see, we spawned with our hammer and our pistol. If you click it, that goes to my primary slot. It is a primary weapon. I also have my pistol equipped. That is number 1 and number 2 on your key or your mouse or whatever you got. I'm gonna go ahead and yank it out. We're gonna press R, and we're gonna go ahead and load our rifle and our pistol. So like I said, there's the bunker bases up here. The bunker base, we just took it. We actually just built it up. One of these is a construction vehicle, and we are now pushing into this town. So we are going to make the run from Rancher's Fast down to here. First of all, when you arrive to a bunker base, press E on it. This is a forward spawn for me. This is the closest spawn I have to the front. So if I press E and I hit the assign home point, always vote. Assigning your spawn point is going to allow you to spawn here after you die. And if you vote, it speeds up the research of these things, which gives your team some really great benefits for the future fighting. All right, so here we are coming up on the front. So it looks like armor is pushing up into the town. We can be a little useful here by suppressing some of this infantry. One of my biggest tips is crouching whenever you are are shooting, it helps significantly. Laying down's even better. You do not have as much recoil. And we killed that guy. There we go. So one of the biggest things that I think a lot of new players really don't understand is your life in this game has a cost to it. My life as an infantryman carrying a rifle, a bandage, and a little bit of ammo is not even close to as worth what a tank is. Hours and hours and hours have been putting into gathering the resources of a tank, refining those resources, building the tank, getting the tank down here with all of its ammo and fuel, and then being able to use it. If you see armor on the front, you see how they're moving back and forth constantly? Do not stand behind these guys. They have every right in the world to absolutely run you over. They should not care about your life because they are worth 15 times as much as you are. So one of my biggest tips when it comes to frontline fighting is fight in the trench, use your cover, crouch when you can. When you do crouch, if you see that you don't have a line, you can't shoot. You see how if I back up a little bit, I can kind of shoot over this? The red line means that my bullet stops where that white line stops. My bullet's not going to travel over here where I'm aiming because of the red line. It's telling me that I'm hitting cover. But if I stand up, I can shoot as far as I'd like. So pay attention to that. Also pay attention to this little shield. The shield is telling me I'm in full cover. When it's blinking and stuff, I'm being suppressed. And if I crouch, you can see that I can kind of hide from things and not be hit. This is one of my biggest tips of surviving on the front. Now, surviving on the front is great. Thriving on the front is even better. Let's talk about scavenging. Scavenging is the reason why I only bring 2 clips of ammunition. Usually you're not going to last long enough to shoot both. When you do, you see these little bags and these boxes laying around. These are dead soldiers' loot. As you can see, we just found 2 more mags, or 2 more clips. We have radios, bandages, binoculars, and so on. So we're going to grab a little bit of extra ammo. That way we have it. We're going to help push this front. Now, you heard that tank yelling at us, hey, you guys need to push up. Go ahead and push the front. That's exactly what you want to do. If you are getting called at and people are like, hey, we need to go, get out of the trench. You need to get up out of the trench. This game is a game of numbers. It's a game of suppression. The more guns and rounds you can get out there, do it. You are a cog in the wheel of the war effort. Act like it. Now, let's talk communication. Communication is a huge part of fighting on the front line. I can see that there is an open top tank right here, southwest. Tank southwest, tank southwest. And now if I press T and I call that out to our fellow tanks, they now know, hey, there's somebody up there. Even if they can't see it, they can defend themselves and they can be more effective on the front. So let's talk about aiming. When it comes to aiming, there's a few things you're looking at. Like I said earlier, that red line, when you hit cover, as you can see, my bullet stops at the hay bale. It doesn't go to the second hay bale. It will stop. If I try to shoot that, I'm going to hit that hay bale. The next things you're looking at is accuracy. You find your accuracy when you right click. You have that little crosshair that is, you see how it gets bigger as I move and I sway. That means I'm very inaccurate. The more you shoot, the more inaccurate you're going to be. As you can see, I'm kind of hitting all over the hay bale. Even if I aim in the same area, it's not going to be very good. And obviously that is increased by distance. You will hit a very large area by doing that. Shooting while moving is also not very good. So my biggest tips for shooting, when it comes to shooting, crouching, like I said earlier, as you see, the more I move, it is significantly less in accuracy, and it's faster to dial in and shoot correctly. Laying down, even better. It's almost impossible to get a large, inaccurate crosshair. The more I move, it stays the same, right? If I want to hit that crossbar in particular, I can get very close to it. I can put rounds right there. So that is very, very handy tips. It helped me significantly learning it. Always put your crosshair on what you're wanting to shoot. Until you get the hang of it, this is going to be the easiest way to kind of aim. And like I said earlier, every round that you shoot, every grenade, every life that you spawn with is all made by a player in this game. And it's one of the coolest things about this game. And I'm going to show you how to help out in that way. So we're back at the home region. We're going to go open our deployment map, and we're going to go ahead and spawn on one of these back regions here. I like Basin. I like Clan's Head Valley a lot. This is kind of like where I'm set up. So I'm going to spawn here, and I'm going to show you guys how to collect materials and turn those into really cool things for the front. I like to load my pistol with one mag and then drop or deposit the other mag. You're not going to need the ammunition. I do it just in case I happen to bump into like one partisan. So this is a seaport. These are very, very important. These are huge logistical points for some of the larger towns. Your first goal is to find a truck. I prefer the flatbeds, but I have a buddy who prefers the dump trucks. You can find those in here. Ours is the Dune Load Luggers as a warden. I can't remember what the colonial ones are called. But I also know here's a flatbed right here, the pack mule. I'm going to grab the load lugger. It holds about 2,000 materials, whereas the pack mule paired with the resource container can hold 5,000 materials. It's a little bit slower, but I'm going to do this load lugger just to get some speed and show you guys how this works. So we're going to click it and go ahead and pull it out of this seaport. It's going to spawn on one of these two pads. There we go. We're going to run over here to the driver's side. We can press Q or we can do Shift Q, and we can pull up the all of the seats available for us. Now, if you look in the top left corner here, you can see that white bar is very, very low. That is my fuel. I'm going to jump out. I'm over here by these containers of diesel. I'm going to press E. This is my load luggers inventory. This button right here is a refuel. I'm doing diesel. If I wanted to use petrol, I could hit change fuel and do petrol. It gives you a speed boost, but petrol burns so much faster. For this kind of stuff to be cost effective, I really like to just use diesel. So we're going to click that, and we're going to physically see that this is filling up my truck. And we can jump back in at this point. We are now full, and we are going to go find a mine. I always recommend driving on the right side of the road. It makes things so much easier, and other players will really, really appreciate it if you're a decent driver. So here we are at some mines. Let's go ahead and talk about this. So I have my intelligence turned off because I don't want to give away anything for our backline to other teams. But this is what a hex would look like. This is a backline hex for us. This is very, very confusing for a new player. So I'm going to show you kind of what you need to know. First of all, structures. You're going to want to know where the refinery is. If you shift click a couple times, you'll find that it removes everything but that one thing you clicked on. So the refinery, that is very important. The garage, also very important. The seaport, very important, or the storage depot. This place does not have a storage depot. Some nearby towns do, though. The seaport and the storage depot are where you're going to put your crates after you're done. As you can see, this is a list of all of the crates that we have in here, and some other Logi player with a big ship is going to come by, pick them up, and move them to the front where they're needed. So now that we have those two selected, there's two more things I want to add to this. A factory and a mass production factory. That is all that you are needing to know as a new player in a town. Don't worry about anything else. This is all you're going to need to do this. Now, when it comes to this, you need something to put in the refinery to make into stuff, and that's when resources come in handy. As a new player, you want to focus on salvage fields and salvage mines. This is going to create BMATs, or basic materials. Your basic materials are what makes 90% of the stuff that is useful to a war front. Now, you also have things like component fields, sulfur, component mines, coal. All of these are fine. We are going to focus solely on salvage to BMATs to production. That is a wonderful chain to start with, and it gets the hang of the game going for you. So as you can see on the map, now I have all of these things. I'm going to show you both ways to collect stuff, and then I'm going to show you how to make it. So first of all, we are sitting here by a salvage mine. I can hover over this and I can see how much salvage is in there. As you can see, this one is full with 5,000 salvage sitting inside. We're going to collect some of this, that way it can now be efficient and make more salvage for our faction. So I'm going to drive right over here. I'm going to pull right up to it with my dump truck. I'm going to press E, as you can see down here at this left side. So we can right click and retrieve multiple, and then we can also shift click and retrieve multiple, and we're going to grab 300 at a time here. Now, if you were using a flatbed with a resource container, you would pull up like right here, where I'm sitting, you would use this crane to lift the resource container, drop it right here. There's like a little attachment point that you can hit. And then when you pull up this inventory thing, you can right click this and retrieve custom and do 1,500 at a time to fill up your 5,000. So we're going to go ahead and take this salvage over here to the refinery. So let's talk about manually gathering salvage. Usually you'd have your dump truck or your resource container put down here. So if you have a sledgehammer or just a regular hammer, you can collect this stuff. I definitely recommend the sledgehammer. I should have grabbed one, but I didn't. But that's okay. We can walk right up to these little nodes. We can hit this, and as you can see, it's going to say gathering salvage. And the longer we hit it, the more stuff we collect. And this is the way to manually gather your salvage. This is a really, really, really good way to build up commends. As you can see, I have 97 commends available. That is from gathering resources. You get these commends like built up as you gather resources manually or by using a grinder or the harvester. But yeah, you could sit here all day, and this is like very, very efficient. Probably not the most efficient way with my little hammer. A sledgehammer is definitely the better way to go about this, or a harvester if you don't have a mine available to you. All right, so we are back in Clan's Head. We're going to go ahead and pull over here to the factory, or to the refinery, my bad. We're going to bump right into it. We'll get the thing to say press E to use the refinery. So when you come to the refinery, there's a few things here. I've been doing a lot of resource farming in the last day or so. There's a couple things. These are BMATs, your basic materials. This is what I want you to focus on. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So every 1,000 you put in here, you're going to make 500. I have mine set to personal. I know what I'm doing with my resources. I'm pretty effective and efficient with my stuff. So I kind of keep it to myself. That way I can create the stuff that I know needs to be created. I'm going to recommend to you to make yours public. Because if you do this and you make yours public, you can take all this scrap, hit the public, hit the salvage. Don't even worry about it. Somebody who knows what they're doing will come by, grab these resources, and make good stuff with it. I'm going to show you how to do it through personal. I'm going to show you the entire supply chain here up to the point where it hits the seaport. So we're going to go ahead, keep it in personal. We're going to shift click and click this salvage to BMAT conversion here. Now I need to go get a new truck. The reason for that, this is Mr. Smuggler. He's actually in our regiment. That's pretty cool to see him running around. I gotta grab a new truck because this dump truck cannot carry the kind of resources that you need to refine stuff with. So we're gonna jump out. We're gonna run over here to this dune transport that we snagged up earlier. The dune transport can carry raw resources, crates, refined materials, and so on. It's not the most effective most of the time, but it is a pretty good truck. But we're going to go ahead and pull up to the refinery with it. We are going to now shift click our basic materials, and that's going to fill up our entire bed, 15 slots with 100 BMATs per slot. That's 1,500 BMATs. We are now going to go to the map, find our factory or the mass production factory. Mass production factory is right here. It takes a lot more time, but you can make more and at a discount, so it's pretty neat. We're going to pull up to the factory. We're going to get our press E to use the factory. We're going to press E. I'm going to show you some of the basics that you need to make. First of all, shirts. Always make shirts or soldier supplies. You find that right here in this little medical tab. If you click it 4 times, it's going to show it down here. You got to kind of scroll down a little bit. You can place this public also or personal. I do it personal because I move all my crates to the seaport ourselves, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to keep it personal. We're going to hit play. We have 8 minutes until these are done. We're also going to queue up some basic ammunition. Right here, the 7.62 or the 9mm. Feel free to create both of these. You can, if you want to do 2 of each. It works. These are very, very useful rounds. Everybody's always going to love you to make them. Another thing that you can also make just with BMATs is anti-tank ammo. This 20mm ammo is super, super handy for infantry to be AT infantry, anti-tank infantry on the front. So we're going to make some of that. As you can see, we still have a ton of BMATs here. Another thing that people absolutely love are going to be your physician's jackets and your padded boiler suits. Your physician's jackets are for your medics. I like making these. I'm going to click that 4 times. This shows you, this little ratio right here, shows you what you have and what you need to make these for. So most of these uniforms, if not all of them, most of them are 100 resources per crate. Crates are interesting because you're not making one of these, you're making several. when it comes to the ammunition, as you can see here, it produces a crate of 40 clips of the 7.62 ammunition for 80 basic materials. Now, I don't have to come in here and make 4 of whatever. I can come in here, actually that does equal out to 4, but I can come in here and just make 2 and hit play. That's fine. You're not slowing anybody down by doing that. The time is going to change a little bit and be a little bit shorter. I'm going to go ahead and make 4 of these barbed wire, click play. That is an entire truckload. Look at how much stuff we just made. I mean, that's 160 rounds of ammunition, 40 rounds of anti-tank ammunition. That is 20 rounds of barbed wire, 40 respawns of soldiers on the front, and 60 medics for the front. This is what I'm talking about being useful, being valuable to your faction. Like I said, every life that you live in this game has a value to it. It has a number placed on it, whether you like it or not. Every time you spawn, you've now cost the faction something. I prefer to know that when I get off for the day, I've done something for my faction. Logistics is a wonderful way to feel that. You can fight on the front all day long. You're going to burn through resources, and sometimes you lose. And that's not fun for everybody. Some people want to always feel like they're winning. Logistics is a wonderful way to do that. So we're going to go ahead and queue up the second factory. Always use both factories if you can. If there are two, we're going to queue up more shirts. We're going to come in here. We're going to queue up more ammunition, just the basic 7.62. Your very, very basic ammo. Everybody uses this stuff. It's wonderful. Another tip is that ammo is always more valuable than guns. Always remember that. For every crate of guns that you bring, always bring like 4 crates of the ammunition. Those guns will burn through the ammunition quicker than the people carrying the guns will die. Always remember that. So we're also going to make a couple of the anti-tank rifles. So we had the ammo in the other crate. We're going to go ahead and make a couple of the rifles. That way we can have those ready to go for the front. And I'm going to come in here and make a shovel for people digging trenches. And let's see here. We're going to make a thing of bayonets and maybe some more barbed wire. Boom. I'm going to throw this extra stuff in here. And now we just wait. And I'm going to show you what we do with these crates whenever this is finished. So actually, we already have some finished here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this ammunition and grab these barbed wire. Now, if you have these set to public, they won't sit in here for you and wait. They will spawn over here in this inventory. And if you see crates up here ready to rock, grab them and take them to the nearest depot. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go past these factories. We're going to hang a left right here. We're going to go over here to the seaport and submit these to the seaport. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So we're going to pull our truck right up here to the seaport. Always try to hug one of these sides or right in the middle if there's somebody on a side. That way you can fit 3 trucks side by side here and you can be very effective and time efficient. So we're going to press E to do this. This is going to open up this seaport stockpile. This is public. Everybody can access this. This is where most people are going to put stuff. I have my own because I do a lot of logistics, so I put my crates in here. That way they're easy for me to pull out by myself. If you want to do that, you hit this create reserve stockpile, make sure it's selected, right click and submit all. If you want to do it into public, make sure that you have public selected. Go ahead and right click your crates and you're going to hit this submit all to stockpile seaport. Boom. We have now added all of our ammunition and that barbed wire to here. That way somebody can come pull it out and take it somewhere else. Now you rinse and repeat that process I just gave you. Collect resources, refine them, turn the refined resources into products, put the products in a depot, and keep doing that. And I promise you, you will be the most efficient new player the world has ever seen. Everybody's going to love you. You will get tons of commends. I'm going to go ahead and commit in my boy Smuggler here since I'm right next to him. There we go. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you become valuable to your faction. That's how you become efficient for the war front. That is how you get better at the game. Like I said, there's tons of different ways to do it. These are just a couple, and this is what I recommend you starting off with. If this video helped you guys in any way, please leave a like and subscribe. I want to say thank you guys so much to the 2,600 plus of you that have subscribed to my channel. It means the world to me. I work a lot on these videos and it's really cool to see the interaction and like people telling their war stories in the comments and the fact that like some of these videos actually help new players, it's wonderful. I really appreciate it. Down below in the description, you can find a link tree where you can get in touch with me on our Discord or some other social medias that I have. I hope to see you guys on the Warfront. This is an absolutely wonderful game. I love it. I play it so much, probably too much, but I think that's the case for a lot of us Foxhole players. I hope it helped you out a ton. I hope to see you guys around the channel a little bit more often. I hope to see you on the Warfront. See you later. Peace.